Hey everybody, great to have you back here in the fish tank. Now it's time for our monthly look at the financial figures for Minion Masters. So if you're not familiar with the situation, the game is not in active development at the moment, maybe never will be, but we are having the monthly balance patches, so there is still some stuff that is being updated every month. And regarding the financial side of things, what the devs said is that if the game pays for itself, it will continue. And as long as that's a thing, then apparently that will be the continuation of the game. Now, they were really transparent with regards to this, and what we'll have a look at here is the spreadsheet that they've given out, and I'll put a link in the description so you can follow along from yourself. But basically, we're just looking at the costs here. So the game is costing the devs $3,200 a month, and then we're looking at the profits. And at the moment, and as has been for since we started this process, the game has been making more profit than its cost. And the good thing about that is what the devs said is they'll bank any of that additional revenue and then keep it aside so that if the game starts making less than it actually costs, then we can dip into the bank and cover things that way. So if we look for the latest data, which is up to April, so as I said, $3,200 a month cost, and the game made $8,373. And we can see here the breakdown with Steam, Xbox, and Android, and the majority of the money is coming from Steam, but all platforms, of course, are important. Now, what that means is this month the game made $5,000 and a little bit extra in profit, and then we'll add that to our banked revenue. So we've got $35,000, nearly over $35,500 in banked revenue. So what that means is that even if the game stops making any money from this point onwards, we'll still have 11 months worth of money to pay for the server and keep the game going. But of course, we hope that the game will continue making money. But it's difficult, especially for for experienced players, because you get to the point where you don't really need anything from the game. You buy the battle pass, but you've already got everything in the battle pass because there's no new cards. But of course, you've got to think about that what you're actually contributing to is the continuation of the game that you may or may not love. A lot of us do. So I also did a little bit of sort of extrapolation of the data. Not really something I'm particularly experienced in. Did a little bit of research how to do that, and definitely take what I say next with a huge pinch of salt. But based on the data we've got, if we extrapolate this trend onwards, then the game should get to a point where it breaks even on a monthly basis. That's where the income equals the cost. That should happen in February of 2026. And by that point, we should have banked $58,000. And what that means is that, again, if that trend continues and we start having to dip into that banked revenue, that profit to pay the month, then the game will run out of money in November of 2027. Of course, take that all with a huge pinch of salt. Could be much worse than that, could be much better than that. But, you know, we don't have a huge data set to extrapolate from, but based on the trends that we've seen so far, that's the sort of thing that we can look at. So basically, the game will continue, definitely for at least another 11 months, worst case scenario. Unless, you know, the devs go back on their word. But they did say that the money will be banked and it will be used to keep the game going. So that's good. And I think I may have mentioned this before. It'd be very interesting to know from the devs' point of view, how are they surprised that we're in this point here, that the game is still fairly healthy from a month-to-month point of view? Or had they expected that maybe we'll have a couple of months and it will sort of dry out and go down to nothing? I don't know. I haven't been able to get a dev to kind of answer that for me, but maybe I'll try again. But yeah, that's... So basically, as we've had with the previous videos regarding this, it's just good news. The game is still making money. It's still making way more than it costs each on a monthly basis. And then, therefore, it will continue. I'm still playing the game quite a lot. I'm still enjoying the game quite a lot. Got into kind of solos this season more than I have been for a while, so that's been enjoying that. And we'll see what next season brings. As always, we'll have a new balance patch with the new season. And if you're not familiar with how that process is going, the devs have basically given the community the power, although it's not, unending power, but the power to suggest balance changes, and the ones that get the most support will ultimately end up in the game, assuming they are doable. Now, if you want to get involved in that, just join the Discord. Again, we'll put a link in the description so you can find that, and either have your own suggestions about things that should be nerfed, should be buffed, and also look at other people's suggestions and either support them or don't, based on what you think. And then, as I said, the ideas that have the most support will end up in the game, and it kind of helps to keep the meta fresh-ish, even if that's just removing one or two cards that are definitely overperforming and just making people make a few different changes to their decks. But at least it keeps things fresh to a degree from a month-to-month basis. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to bring you up to date with. Good news. And yeah, my name's Bad as a Fish, and if you're enjoying the content here in the Fish Tank, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, drop a subscribe with the notifications on if you want to keep up to date on all things Minion Masters related here in the Fish Tank. Thanks so much for your time. I'm Bad as a Fish.